So us producers get a bad rap in hip hop sometimes. It's quite disrespectful at times because we're just, trying to make a name for ourselves and stuff like that. And then I come across this video, The Decline of Hip Hop, How Producers Are the Problem. Let's see what this person is talking about.
I am Barack Obama. I am Barack Obama.
Let me ask you a question. Are you bored? Does it feel like you've been hearing the same song over and over again for years now, like nothing in hip hop has changed? If you feel like this, you're not crazy. In the last 5 to 10 years, hip hop has become more and more stagnant and there's less innovation than ever. But why?
Not bored.
What is happening? Many people blame the music industry. Hip hop has become the #1 genre in the world and some say it's become too commercial. Others blame streaming platforms, that music has become more for algorithms than people. But there's one factor that people never talk about, and it's the producers. Somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago,
You're telling me it's the producer's fault more than the other things you just listed, bro?
something changed about music producers that no one noticed and no one ever talks about. And so in today's video, I want to talk about this. I think producers are causing one of hip hop's biggest problems and no one even knows it.
The biggest? Huh?
First, we need to rewind and think about how we got here. In the early days of hip hop, it seemed like the sound of the genre would get reinvented every few years. Whether it was the stabby, aggressive production of early Dr. the jazzy, low-end production of Q-Tip, the rough, disorienting production of RZA, the pop influence of the Hitmen, the southern blues influence of Organized Noise, the Casio sound of Swiss Beats, the sped-up soul from Kanye West, the percussive rhythmic beats by Pharrell. Every few years, the sound of hip hop would change, and it would often be because a newer producer came in and introduced a different sound or style.
That's
but in
fair.
recent years, we really haven't had this type of innovation. For the most part, we've been stuck with trap-influenced beats for about 5 to 10 years now. And I want to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with trap beats. This isn't yet another video of an
That's fair. I'll give him that.
man yelling at the new generation. I actually think newer producers have tons of talent and great ideas. The problem is that the system that we have today stops them from creating these great ideas. Let me explain how. In the world of producing, there are a few different systems. The most common system that you might know is the direct system of producing. This is how most producing used to look. You had one producer who made a bunch of beats, and they would play those beats for the artist directly. Think DJ Premier or Pete Rock making beats for a Nas album. You also had the group system. This is when you had a bunch of producers in a room together, and they would make beats together for artists. Think Organized Noise making beats for Outkast.
Yes.
And you had the director system. This is when you had one or many producers working under the umbrella of one main producer. And that main producer selects which beats to use while maybe making some changes to the beats to fit a specific style.
Fair enough.
Timbaland in his later years with Justin Timberlake. Now, what is the system that we have
To be fair, I didn't know Timbo was like that. I thought he was going to say like DJ Khaled or something, bro.
now? Today we have the e-collab system, and this is where you're going to start to see the problem. Here's how the e-collab system works. You have one producer who starts by creating a bunch of loops or the core ideas for beats. Then those loops get sent to another producer. That producer chooses which loops they want to use, and they might add another sound on top of that loop. Then those get sent to another producer who might add some drums, and then they get sent to yet another producer, and so on and so on.
If we stop it there, that's facts. I'll give him that. It's gotten kind of nuts. Come on, it's like 3 people on one loop, and then it gets to the guy who adds the drums.
And many of these producers don't even know or talk to each other while they work on these beats. So by the time a beat reaches the artist, it's gone through 5 or 6 different producers. This is a system that has never existed before, and it's also what I think is causing this huge problem. Take a look at this example. Here's the tracklist for Illmatic, which is considered one, if not the best hip hop album of all time. Most songs just have one producer. And here is a tracklist for Jack Harlow's latest album, which is considered one of the blandest hip hop albums in recent years. Take a look at that track listing. If Schindler had a list this long, World War II would have never happened. Now you might be wondering, so what? What exactly is so bad about this e-collab system? Well, think about it like this. I want you to keep this quote in mind when you think about this system. It's from Rick Rubin, who's widely considered one of the greatest producers of all time. He said, "Innovative work is likely to alienate as many people as it attracts." And I absolutely believe this to be true. Whenever there's an innovative new idea.
To be fair, like Rick Rubin, I guess he produces. Does he make music though? I know he puts people together.
Some people understand it and some people just don't. There will always be a group of people who just don't like or want this innovation. So if we take this quote literally and just say that 50% of people like innovative ideas while another 50% don't, just for the sake of this example, in the direct system of producing, there's a 100% chance the artist gets to at least hear the innovative idea and a 50% chance that the artist actually likes and uses it. That's not bad. But let's think about how this works in the e-collab system with 5 different producers. Here, let's say producer number 1 creates
You know what? Let's finish it, but he's wrong.
Idea that could very well shift the landscape of hip-hop like all the producers back in the day used to. What are the chances that it makes through all 5 other producers successfully? All it takes is for one producer in the system, just a single producer, to not get the idea, to not understand it, to feel alienated. And once that happens, that innovative idea that could have changed hip-hop just dies. Looking at the math here, there's only a 6% chance for this idea to even reach the artist and a 3% chance that it even gets used. And this is why I think hip-hop music is becoming more and more bland. In the e-collab system, think about what kinds of beats do successfully make their way to the artist. It's going to be the most inoffensive, people-pleasing, accessible ideas. Innovative ideas just don't work in this system. And that's the problem as I see it. While the e-collab system might be great for newer producers to get their first placements,
I want to let them
get
finish.
their foot in the door, it's just also holding them back from making an impact with their beats and actually innovating. I think producers need to take a stand and eventually start moving away from this system, to eventually start putting out their own projects themselves, or maybe even working with artists more directly again. And I think this can happen. We're actually starting to see examples of what can happen when artists go the complete opposite route of the e-collab system, where they don't involve anyone else in the music at all.
Nah, bro, you're wrong. It's not the producer's fault at all whatsoever. I appreciate his perspective, but unobjectively, he is incorrect. I get what he was trying to say. Still incorrect. It's all the artist's fault. It's all the label's fault. It's the fans' fault, bro. If you want to take it another level, it's the fans rewarding these same rappers making the same songs over and over again. They're clearly listening. If they weren't listening, then they wouldn't be making those same type of songs. Respectfully, the decline of hip hop is not the producer's fault. It is the overall industry and the artists for prioritizing the charts over their creativity and innovation.
I am Barack Obama. I am Barack Obama.